This is exciting to me because I think that we expect this of students, that we expect them to be able to do this automatically, but we don't teach it to them explicitly. And so now what happened here in this classroom is evidence that if we give them the tools, they can actually do it, and they can do it as well or better than we can. They rocked it. They really were able to do the self and peer assessment in meaningful ways and to learn from themselves and each other. The teachers were focused less on teaching than on facilitating learning, and the students stepped into that role comfortably and gladly. And they talked to themselves, they talked to each other, they talked to the teacher. You know what they had here? They have a culture of critique in this classroom. And it's a constructive culture of critique, it's an intelligent culture of critique, and that's because the teachers put the tools in place, in this case the rubric and the ladder of feedback, and they taught their children how to do it. This is important. They've been doing this all year. Instead of just saying, I think you need to fix such and such, you say, have you considered? Or I wonder if, or one of my concerns is. This makes a huge difference, and all the kids spoke about that. They get it. They get it because they were taught about the importance of it, but they also get it because they experience it, and they can talk about getting feedback from each other, not as being harsh, but as being gentle and helpful. That it wasn't about just judgment or evaluation or even just assessment in the typical sense of the word. It was about improvement. We've talked already about the role of a constructive critique, a protocol, the ladder of feedback, or whatever, 2 stars and a wish, any kind of constructive protocol for peer feedback. But the other key element in truly informative self and peer assessment is standards. And that can be in the form of criteria checklists or rubrics or whatever. I don't care how you communicate your standards to your students, but if they are grounded in the discipline, then students and teachers themselves know what the learning targets are, and they can all aim towards them. But without a really clear picture of what those goals are, all the lovely protocols in the world, no matter how constructive, no matter how gentle, aren't going to do anybody any good because we don't know what we're talking about. So you definitely need both of those elements. You can do all kinds of things, but you have to have that basic foundation of what are my goals for my students and what does high quality learning and work look like on this particular task. I know from talking to them that a lot of teachers are very skeptical about self and peer assessment. That's partly because of misconceptions about what it really is. A lot of people hear self-assessment and peer assessment and think that students are just going to go grade themselves and each other. And of course, they'll give themselves A's, they'll stroke their friends and they'll bash their enemies. That's absolutely true if what you do is ask them to grade themselves. But that's not what we're asking them to do. We're asking them to give each other and themselves feedback based on standards of quality. Completely different animals, and you get completely different behaviors if you ask them to grade themselves versus give themselves feedback. So the most important thing, if you're curious about this at all, is to keep in mind that this self and peer assessment is really about feedback. The point is actually to get them to revise and improve and deepen their learning and raise achievement. So why would you ask them to grade themselves? I don't. They have a beautiful community of learning in here, and there's mutual trust and respect. Do you have to have that to start self and peer assessment? No, you can get it through peer and self-assessment. It takes courage, I think, for teachers who aren't sure that their students will treat each other well or even treat their teacher well. Start with a piece of your curriculum with which you have confidence, and then define your learning targets, create standards, create assignments, that you have some comfort with, and then dive in with the self and peer assessment. I have never met a teacher who didn't make a genuine commitment to trying self and peer assessment and then regretted it. They all love it. They try it, they stumble a little maybe, they try it again, they get feedback from their peers, the other teachers about how to make it work, and it works. That's what I want people to know, that there are all kinds of ways that it can fail, but there are far more ways that it can succeed, and students can actually do this and benefit a lot from it. It's fun to be with a bunch of students who are academically, intellectually engaged. That's a blast.